All right, let's go ahead and get started on the continuation of the topic that we're talking about last on our last group call, which was your mindset, your identity shift, and the question that we asked last time was, are you addicted to the struggle? And the whole theme of that conversation was to start with building the awareness of the language that you're using that are keeping you stuck. And I called out one client today that we were having a conversation, and she mentioned, oh, I still have long ways to go. And yes, although that's true, yes, you're the client, Diana. The question that I asked was, how is asking you those questions and how focusing on how much more progress you need to do, how is that serving you? How is that helping you right now? Like what these kinds of questions and this kind of focus don't help you at all to move forward. It just keeps you where you are. So the focus should be on the actions and the behaviors, and that starts with the language. So if you notice a pattern of always defaulting to why am I stuck? Why I'm not making progress as fast as I want? Why blah blah blah? I still have long ways to go. Yourself, this becomes a self-proclaimed prophecy. Like you literally, that's the only thing you're going to focus on. That's the only thing that you're going to materialize, really, because you're not focusing on the actions that will move you forward. So for more detail and for more in-depth mindset tips on gaining that initial awareness, I highly recommend watching the replay from the last group call that we did, the first part of this series. And then tonight, what we're going to be focusing on is specifically on that identity shift and becoming that person. Becoming, yes, Diana, rewatch that, please. Because certain things, the more we listen once, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. It's like a book. You read a book at a season in your life, and okay, cool, the book is good. But then you reread it again in another season, and something clicks. It makes more sense. And for these things, especially when it comes to rewiring how you think and how you speak to yourself, which is something that we have been doing for since we're kids, right? So it's very, very ingrained in who we are. We need to consciously make that effort to rewatch things, reread things, remind ourselves of these things because the default is going to be your old identity. The default is going to be, okay, I'm making progress yet. No, 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 you're not making progress. You're not going fast enough, blah, 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 blah. And that derails you. That's the default. That's where your brain is wired to go. So you need to literally make an effort to bring your brain and your focus, your energy back to where you want to be to in a way that's going to serve you to get to where you want to be. Okay. And tonight, like I said, the focus will be on identity shifting, becoming that person, basically brainwashing yourself into becoming who you want to become. Um, and like I said, awareness is that step one. Um, but the reality is you don't get what you want, you get what you are. You get what you are, and you attract to your life who you are, not what you want. And as woo-woo as it sounds, this applies to fitness. You always are attracting who you are a match for. If you're constantly acting like someone who's stuck, maybe inconsistent, maybe unhappy, maybe you're just so your behaviors are just so ingrained in being that person oh, this is who I am. I like to eat out multiple times a week. I don't care. I'm the type of person who do this, and that. Maybe I'm a people pleaser, um, and want to make sure that everybody else is happy with my choices, blah, 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 blah. So if you're constantly acting like that person and constantly acting like someone who is overwhelmed, honestly, overwhelmed is a choice at the end of the day. Being stuck is a choice that you're making. So um, the more you identify with those traits, the more you reinforce that identity. Okay. But when you decide to be somebody else different, when you decide that you want to go for a goal or achieve something that you've never had, you have to act like somebody who has already those results, which is a little bit of fake it till you make it, but not quite, because we're not really faking. We're trying to embody those traits. We're trying to embody and think like a person who already has what you want to have. For example, the person who is already fit, who has the dream body that you want to have, how does she act? How does she think? Does she constantly think that she's behind and not making progress and overwhelmed and stuck? Or she she looks back, she sees the progress that she's made, she realizes that she still have things to work on, and she shifts her focus to learning what she needs to learn and acquiring these skills to get better and better, to become better. How does she act? That fit person, that woman that, has everything together and doesn't get consumed about all of, thinking about nutrition all the time, thinking about food all the time, thinking about get fat all the time, who is not constantly worried about how she looks because she has built the body that she's comfortable in. That woman, she acts differently than the woman who, you know, nothing fits and she's never happy with her body and she doesn't have the habits that will lead her to having a different result. So, who who do you want to become and how does that person acts and thinks on a day-to-day basis, even and especially during weekends, especially on like day-to-day habits? What does that person do? Like a fit person, a person who has built a like their dream body, who is fit, healthy, strong, prioritizes herself. Does she scroll on her social media until midnight and go to bed super late and then wake up feeling tired and bloated, and then she forgot about, what she's going to eat because she didn't take the time to prioritize pre-logging or pre-planning and things like that? Or she does something different, right? On the weekends, does she go with the flow and just, eats and drinks whatever she wants because she doesn't want to disappoint her family or her friends, or she just wants to enjoy her life and treat herself? Or does she make conscious choices that are more in line with the ultimate goal that she has? Right. And I've said it a couple of times as well in previous calls. Um, Best example that we can give is actually two, for people who are vegetarian and people who don't smoke or don't drink because it's their choice or religion or whatever the case. If you go out with that person, there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can say that will convince a vegetarian to eat meat. Nothing. You can like have the best, I want steak now, the best steak, and then just like throwing into her face, she's not going to eat it. It's not who she is. She's somebody who doesn't eat meat, right? Same thing with people who don't drink or don't smoke. You can try whatever you want. They're not going to smoke. They're not going to drink because that's their identity, right? So what are the things that might be holding you back that you need to shift? What are those behaviors that might not be in alignment with who you are? But the first step to get there is the decision and the acceptance that you don't just need a nutrition plan, you don't just need new macros or new workouts and things like that. Those are just the you know the way they're gonna get there. Those are just the surface level strategies. But if deep down you still see yourself as somebody who is stuck, overwhelmed, not making progress, and blah, 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 this is just who I am. If deep down that's who you think you are, regardless, you can have the best strategies in the world, you can be in the best program in the world. The results are not going to happen, and they're not going to be sustainable, because change first happens here. You have to first visualize yourself as that person and then embody the behaviors of that person. Okay? You have to literally become her. Whatever her is, whatever you envision yourself being, you have to literally act like her right now. So define that picture in your head. That's the first step. Who is she? In tangible terms. A lot of things we try to just paint a surface level picture and just use general terms, but our brains are very, very specific. So the more we give it specific things to focus on, and I can tell, I can say this from experience because I've materialized certain things that I've wanted doing this process. So define clearly in your mind and write it down in a piece of paper, like do this exercise, actually do it. The person who you want to become, the woman who you want to be. Okay. Let's say a year from now, 2, 3, 5, 10. How does she look like physically? What are the physical attributes that you want to see? How does she carry herself? Does she walk like with a tall posture, shoulders back, chest up? Does she own the room? Whatever she is. How does she eat? How does she speak about herself? How does she speak with others? How does she, whenever somebody compliments her, how does she react? Does she immediately deflects? Or does she just like owns it and say thank you? How does she handle setbacks? Is she resourceful in times of unresourcefulness? So when things are challenging, when things are tough, how does she handle that? Does she cry herself and throw a pity party because her life is difficult, that more difficult than anybody else's life? Or she becomes resourceful and find a way to find solutions and look for solutions. How does she show up on a random Tuesday like today? Not just like on her good days, on days that she's feeling her best, but when she's not feeling her best, how does she show up? Think about it. Paint that specific picture. Okay? How does she dress up like? So if you're already her, and this vision of this woman that you want to be, what are the clothes that you're wearing? What are the details, the accessories, the handbags, the hair, the makeup, all the things? What does she look like in vivid details? And the reality is, if you only act like her when things are easy and smooth, you never become her. You have to remember this vivid picture that you just painted with all the details and all the traits and characteristics, and bring her and embody her when things are tough. So you can ask yourself and ask her guidance, quote unquote, what would she do? So when things are tough, when things are challenging, when you're facing, you know, challenging seasons, ask yourself, what would she do? What would she do right now? How would she react? How would she respond? This is so powerful, you guys. And this is not just, again, this is not me just saying woo woo stuff. Even when, they're doing career events in corporate settings, they always say you should dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. I don't know if anyone has ever heard about it. Meaning that you have to embody that person that you want to be if you want to attract a better position, if you want to be at a higher level position, you have to already embody those traits. You have to already dress for that occasion and carry yourself in a way that people will believe that you can do these things. So it's not waiting for the opportunity, it's becoming a person who attracts that kind of opportunity. If you are looking for a relationship, a partner, you don't sit and wait and like look all messy and hope that somebody really nice is going to just show up at your door. You become someone who attracts that kind of person. You become someone who is interesting, you know who has boundaries, who is firm, but also whatever the case may be. But you first become that person, become that interesting person that your ideal guy will be interested in. Okay. So your and then paint that picture, hold that picture, and remember her in tough times. Okay. In tough times when you don't want to do, I don't know, your workouts, or when you don't want to meal prep, when during the weekends, when it's very, very easy to get distracted and forget about your goals completely. And then on Monday, you wake up and it's check-in day and you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't pre-log again. I didn't do it again. I didn't meal prep. I didn't do blah, 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 blah. So remember who you are becoming on those moments so you can continue to get better and better and get closer to your goals. Okay. And the third point that I want to make here is your language is a mirror for your identity, which is something that we also talked about, that words are not really neutral. They really reinforce the identity, and we really need to be mindful of how we speak about ourselves, and especially how we speak about ourselves when we mess up, quote unquote. And interestingly enough, now having a toddler, I became even more aware of this and even more mindful, because it's very easy to just like whenever you mess up, you just go and slap your face kind of thing, and you say things that are not that nice for yourself. And but when you have like a mini monkey right beside you that copies everything that you do, you don't want to have her looking and mirroring that kind of behavior, right? So if you're always like, oh, I always mess up on the weekends. Oh, I'm so bad with consistency. Oh, I'm so bad with this. I'm so bad with that. This is so hard. This is blah, blah, blah. I'm an all or nothing person. I am, I have a sweet tooth and my problem is this sweet tooth. And then you identify and hold on to that. This is so hard. I never see results and this and that. The more you say these things, the more you're reinforcing an identity of somebody who are never going to get to where you want to be. Never. Okay. And another pet peeve that I have is using generic words, like trying. Oh, I'm trying to be good, or I'm being more mindful. What does that mean? What does that mean? Let's try to let's focus on being more objective on how we speak. Oh, this week I'm gonna try to focus on blah blah blah. You're not gonna do it. Either you do it or you don't. You don't try. And then whenever you say what you want to do, create an action step, actionable things that you can do. Oh, instead of saying, this week I'm going to try to focus on my nutrition, I'm going to try to eat better. What does that mean? Objectively, right? Break it down. What does that look like? How do you know if you are doing better with your nutrition? If we have something very specific that we can hit the checkbox every day, it is a lot easier to give your brain reasons to believe that you're somebody who follows through with what you say. And slowly you build up confidence, because confidence doesn't come from like saying that you're confident, just like shouting out and like, oh, I'm confident, I'm confident. No, it comes from the ability to follow through with what you said you're going to do. And this, even on the smallest commitments. So, oh, I'm trying to be good with my nutrition. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. Okay, what can I do on a daily basis? Okay, I can pre-log my meals every night. That I can do. I can check off that box. That's an action, right? And then every night that you do that, that you say that you're going to pre-log and you do it, you're building that self-confidence account with yourself, right? And you start giving your body evidence to prove that you are somebody who follows through, that you can do this, starting on the smallest things. But you have to give your brain objective actions, because the brain doesn't work with generic terms. It doesn't work with trying and terms that are not really very, very clear and specific. And that's also how we help you guys hold yourselves accountable, by knowing what is going to be the focus or what we need to work on. And then with a simple question, we have a yes or no answer. Was it done? No? Yes? Easy, right? So if the answer is not that easy, maybe it's not broken down into a small enough action. It's not yet very clear, that you don't have that clarity on what needs to be done. So just to go back to the identity phrases. So swapping some of the things that we said, I always mess up on the weekends, to I'm learning how to navigate weekends with more intention. I'm becoming someone who shows up no matter what. I choose what aligns with my goals instead of, oh, I'm so bad with consistency, I can't do this. I choose what align with my goals. And the more you say that to yourself and you do small things that are aligned with your goals, could be very, very small, the more confidence you build with yourself. So when the big stuff happens, you already have that confidence built in. So when there's an event, or when there's, peer pressure from your friends or family, or when you don't know how to navigate certain things, you're like, okay, I choose what aligns with my goals. So, okay, let me look for something that aligns with my goals here. Even if you are at a freaking KFC restaurant, you know, um, same thing. I'm proud of my consistency, even when it's imperfect. I'm proud of, how I've been showing up. And the more you say these things, which are true, you're not lying to yourself, because you are truly becoming, the more you detach yourself from that old identity into this new identity that you are building. Okay. So what would you say out loud or to yourself that no longer aligns with who you want to be? What is that one thing that you say to yourself that no longer aligns with who you want to be? So now we've painted that picture of who you want to be. We have that clear vision now. You know what are the things that are probably holding you back from becoming and embodying her right now? What are some of the things that you have been saying that you can catch yourself saying that are not in alignment with that person, right? So that's one of the things. Um, I can give one example myself, with overthinking, for example. That's just one example. I used to be somebody who overthinks everything. And the things that I would say to myself is, oh, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure that I make the right decision. I just want to make sure that this is perfect. I just want to make sure that I don't mess up. I overthink. This is what I do. I'm an overthinker. I'm an overthinker. That wasn't serving me at all, at all, right? Because the truth is, the best results, and the best lesson that I can get is just by acting, doing something, getting the feedback of that something, learning from that experience, and then moving forward and then moving on, right? Overthinking doesn't serve me, and saying that I'm an overthinker doesn't serve me either. So I had to shift. And now I say I used to be somebody who used to overthink. Now I'm somebody who, prefers to take imperfect action and learn from mistakes, even if things go wrong, right? So that's just one random example, but it can be anything. What are those things that you say to yourself that you are, that truly aren't in alignment with who you want to be? And don't wait until you feel like her. Choose those aligned actions and those aligned words right now before you get the results, before you can actually see it. Okay? And ask yourself those questions. What would future me do in this situation? What would she talk to herself today? What choices feel hard now, but it will be her new normal for her in the future? Because again, what feels normal really depends on the standards that you set for yourself, the environment that you're in, and what you choose to become your normal. Depending on who you hang out, many of the things that we're doing are not normal. This is not what quote unquote normal people do. But you're looking to get a result that you've never had. So you have to create habits, behaviors, and things that you say to yourself that are not normal. And I've been there too, guys. I've been there too. Years ago in my fitness journey where I was always, doing the things Monday through Friday, being good during the week, and then the weekends would come around and it would derail me. It was because I wasn't fully locked in to who I wanted to become. I didn't fully embody that. So whenever my friends were, drinking and partying a lot and eating all the things, and I couldn't say no. I didn't know how to say no, or how to choose my goals, or how to, stand up for myself and choose things that were different, because those were the normal things to do. Everything else, whenever I started to wake up early to go and get my training session in, whenever I stopped, drinking until I pass out, those weren't normal behaviors in the group that I was in. And it was hard navigating that. It was really hard navigating that because I was judged. I felt, like I was left out. I felt like I was, a weirdo in the middle of that group. But turns out that right now, after years, many people are like, okay, I wish I had done the same. And one, you can always find a new group. And two, if the group is truly people who love you, they don't care. They don't care at the end of the day. Right? So always choose what's in alignment with your goals, with who you want to become. But just know that you will find resistance. You'll find resistance. It'll be challenging. It'll be hard. It feels hard because you might be the only one in that group that's choosing these things that you're choosing, that you want to make a priority. But that's when the breakthrough really, really happens. Okay. And then create a mini identity shift ritual too. Whenever you're journaling or, in the morning when you wake up, before you go to bed, write down certain phrases like, I'm no longer available for dot, dot, dot. What are you no longer available for? What kinds of boundaries are you setting for yourself? I'm stepping into the version of me who doesn't or who do blah, 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 blah. Right? I'm stepping in the version of me who set a limit on how much she drinks. I'm stepping into the best version of me who chooses her goals, who prioritizes herself, who chooses to feel good. I'm building a body that feels dot, dot, dot. I choose to think, speak, and act in alignment with blah, 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 blah. So write those things down. Think deeply about this because this might be the things that are holding you back from fully going all in and surrendering to the process and really getting the results that you're here for. Right? So practicing these habits, practicing this morning and evening rituals, writing things down, painting a picture, becoming more objective with your words rather than subjective. Stop with the trying to be good or trying to be this or trying to be that. Really having a clear, vivid picture of who you want to become. Like take the time to visualize that. Take the time to work on that. And picking like one habit, one behavior, one phrase that you need to upgrade this week, whether it is with food or your mindset or training or how you handle weekends, how you handle, your own transformation. If there's any self-sabotage behaviors that you can identify every time you're on the verge of seeing a result that you've never had, you go on and you do something stupid that brings you back 10 steps. Try to notice these things and especially notice how you speak about yourself, how you speak about your journey, and swap those words for more empowering and positive words and phrases and questions that will force your brain to think differently and start showing up as the person who you want to be right now. Don't wait until you become her. You first act like her and then you become her. Okay. And I guess that's a wrap for tonight. All right. Any questions for today? Any insights, anything that you wanted to share? Just let me know. Just reading the chat now. Okay, Kaylee, Diana, love it. All right. All right, Rachel, I don't know if you can unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. Amazing. And yeah, that's awesome. And also, like I said in the end here, don't use this as just inspiration and like things that you hear and you don't fully act on it. The power of these things when it comes to mindset is the action. The way that you're going to rewire your brain and rewrite your identity is through action. So do the work with the journaling, do the work with the visualization, do the work with the awareness step day to day. Remind yourself of these things daily because that's when the magic happens. And that's when you fully learn um, how to shift your mindset, how to shift your identity, and things become a lot easier because it is a lot easier to show up when these things are your normal than when they're not your normal and you're forcing things. So, yeah, that was it for today. But thanks for everyone who showed up live. Appreciate you, and thanks for you guys who are watching the replay. Anything else that we wanted to ask or any other questions? Rachel, Dorota, anything to add before we hop off?
I guess I just want to like say one thing that you already keep mentioning all the time, that you have to put repetitions in. It's the same when you go into the gym, right? Like you cannot just go once to the gym and expect to be stronger, right?
Yeah,
You have to show up all the time. And this is going to be the same thing. And wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and say those things, exactly what you were saying, and do it
yeah,
every day until you actually start believing those
yeah.
words.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Those reminders are so important. The repetition of this is so important because, like I said, the fall is the old you. That's how your brain is wired. So you literally have to force your brain and bring the focus to this new identity that you're creating. So you have to keep on repeating, keep on showing up. As hard as it is, as woo-woo as it sounds, give it a try. Do it. Do it day in and day out, and you're going to see the magic happening. And if you haven't watched the first part of this talk, I did this a couple of weeks ago in our last group call, and it's available in the app. The replays are on there. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for everyone who showed up today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the night. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Bye.